The new Kontext competitor is here and it's a banger. Hello humans, what is QWEN Overload, and boy oh boy do I have some mind-blowing stuff for you today. Because yes, a new image edit AI model made by the team behind QWEN IMAGE was just released, called QWEN IMAGE Edit. A fully open source multimodal image editor model that is able to automatically edit images with just a simple text prompt, and that follows your prompt better than Kontext ever could. It is really a fantastic model, and in this video I will show you how to install it locally on your computer or on RunPod and compare the quality of the generation with Kontext side by side. So that being said, sit back, relax, and let's go. And to install QWEN Image Edit you have two ways. The first is of course by using my one-click installer that is available for my Patreon supporters. Just download the file onto your computer, then double click it. It will then ask you which model you want to download depending on the VRAM of your GPU. If you have less than 12 GB, you're gonna choose option number 1. If you have between 12 and 16, you're gonna choose option number 2. And if you have more than 24 GB of VRAM, you're gonna choose option number 3. And in my case, I'm gonna choose option number 3 and then press enter. And then it will automatically download and install ComfyUI and all the missing nodes and models that you need to run QWEN Image Edit. And once it's done, in the end, it will automatically launch ComfyUI ready to be used. Simple as that. You don't need to do anything. And for this video, I prepared a special ComfyUI workflow that you can download from my Patreon. So just download the workflow and then drag and drop it inside ComfyUI. And there you go. And for the manual installation, the link for it will be in the description down below. Okay, so now that we have everything installed, we can finally have some fun. And in this video, we're gonna compare the two models, QWEN Image Edit, against the previous image editing AI king called Kontext, and compare them side by side to try to determine which one is the best and which one should you use. Now, if you don't know what Kontext is, I highly recommend watching my previous video on the subject because it will definitely help you try to understand what QWEN Image Edit can do. But basically, TLDR, Kontext is a model that is able to automatically edit an image based on a text prompt. So like for example, let's say that you input an image of this woman and you want to change the hair color to something like blue, for example. Well, instead of, for example, using in painting and doing everything manually, we can simply write a prompt. So if we write something like change the woman's hair color from brown to blue while maintaining the original composition, and now I click run, which in the end would give us something like this. As you can see, without doing any manual inpainting or doing anything, the model automatically understood what exactly it needed to change and then just simply changed the color of the hair from brown to blue. And it is really that simple. And this is the kind of stuff that the Flux Kontext model can do. And it is really just an amazing model. And we are really just scratching the surface. Once again, if you haven't watched the video, I highly recommend that you do. Well, in that case, what is QWEN Image Edit? Well, QWEN Image Edit is basically the same as the Kontext model, but this time it is made by the QWEN team. The same team that recently released the brand new QWEN Image model. That is basically right now the best text-to-image AI model on the market right now. Once again, I made a video on this model like a week ago. So once again, if you haven't watched it, definitely go watch that video. And basically what this model pretends that it can do is pretty much the same thing that Kontext can do, but with an increase in quality and a much better prompt following. The model allows you to create new images by creating images of your subject from a different angle, convert an initial image into a different style, like anime, 3D, and stuff like that, adding new object to the image, or removing object from an image, as well as doing things that Kontext definitely has a lot of trouble doing. And believe me, I tried. And we're gonna talk about that later. And it also allows you to edit text, create new images in the same style, etc, etc. Okay, so enough talking, let's actually test them right now and compare the two models side by side to determine which one is the best. Okay, so once again, if you haven't used one of my workflows before, you have here a little button that allows you to enable the workflow or disable it. Here, do not forget to choose the correct model, choose the correct version that was downloaded for your GPU. Here you can select the LoRa. Now what's really great is that as of right now, the QWEN Image Edit is already compatible with the QWEN Image Lighting LoRa, 8 steps and 4 steps, so you can generate images very quickly which is really cool. Here you input your prompt, here you get your parameters, then you can leave everything by default. Right here you can input the resolution of your image, and here you have the switch that allows you to either choose between true, which uses the custom resolution that you have right here, or false, which will automatically resize your image for the ideal resolution for QWEN Image Edit. Now basically I have input here a bunch of notes that tells you, that explains whatever you need to do. If you don't want to do any resizing and you just want to keep the original image resolution, you need to put this at false and then come here, click on this little node and then bypass this node right here. And if you do, the resolution from the original image will be kept as is, but keep in mind that if it is too big, it will take a long time to generate. So basically, to keep it safe, basically just leave everything by default unless you want a specific custom resolution. In that case, you can just enable this at true and then input a custom resolution right here. But for now, I'm just gonna put false and just leave everything by default. And then here, you can enable or disable the second image for the workflow. And we're gonna use that later in the video. Okay, so now we can finally start. And to begin with, let's actually do the test that we just did with Flux Kontext and basically use the same exact image with the same exact prompt so that we can compare the difference. So I input my image right here, then I'm gonna input my prompt, and now if I click run, and in the end we get something like this. As you can see, between QWEN Image Edit and Flux Kontext, the result is very similar. Now QWEN Image Edit, just like Kontext, has kinda like the same issue, meaning that the original image also kinda, changes a little bit. So it's not like the original image exactly. As you can see, same with Kontext, it is still not the same exact image. The initial image has been changed, so that issue is still not fixed, which is really kinda annoying, not gonna lie. I really wish that future models would kinda find a way to solve this issue, but for now, I mean, this is what we have. And I know exactly what you're gonna say. You're probably gonna say something like, oh man, but look, Kontext is so much better. QWEN Image Edit is really terrible. The difference between Kontext and QWEN Image Edit is like day and night. And my answer to this is, well, you're not wrong. QWEN Image Edit is not better than Kontext at everything. However, QWEN Image Edit is better than Kontext on a lot of things. For example, its amazing ability to follow the prompt allows you to generate absolutely amazing images by respecting the consistency of the subject. So like for example, let's say I upload an image of myself and I write something like, change the character to sit on a futuristic throne in a futuristic castle, and I click run, and we get something like this. We get a pretty cool image, something that followed the prompt really well, although once again it kinda have like this Flux Kontext issue with the proportion, where here I have like a very big torso and very small legs sitting on a very small chair, almost like it's trying to like fit everything inside a frame. And I remember that Kontext had that issue as well, and indeed if you actually use Kontext, we get something like this, which is really not that much better. Actually, it's definitely worse. When you compare them side by side, yeah, I mean, here QWEN is definitely a little bit better. Maybe it's because of the way my image is cut up when you only see like the upper torso and the upper body, so it doesn't really know how to fit my legs. So maybe if I actually use another image, maybe if I use a character with like a full body, maybe it's gonna work better. So if I click run, which gives us something like this, and here as you can see it actually works much better. The proportions are definitely like, correct. So maybe it was like a base image issue, because as you can see, like the proportions are pretty good. The image is actually really decent, and it did respect the original image and the design of the character. So this actually looks pretty good. And using the same thing with Kontext gives us something like this, which is, also pretty good. Once again, not as good as QWEN. I really do prefer the style of the generation, but Kontext definitely did a really good job as well. It's just that everything is a little bit more like messy compared to the more stable QWEN Image Edit, which looks definitely much better. Now you can also use different characters, even characters from like a magazine cover. If you remember correctly, this character was created in my previous QWEN image video with that Vogue future icons text written on the top. If you actually input this image and then put in the prompt to make the character sit on a lavish chair with a golden queen crown on her head, which in the end gives us something like this. As you can see, the quality of the generation is very similar to the original image. I mean, after all, it was made by the same type of model, and it also kept the same background without much changes, while keeping the likeness of the character intact, but just in a completely different position. And once again, the quality of the generation is absolutely amazing. This is really a beautiful image. And it was made by really respecting the entire style of the original image, which is really cool. Now Flux also did it pretty well by once again keeping the same types of generation, the same type of style as the original. As you can see, this is the before, this is the after. We have kept pretty much the same style as the original image, but when you compare that image with the one made by QWEN Image Edit, yeah, I mean, there is definitely a difference. The one made by QWEN Image is definitely much better. It is just a little bit more clean. And also the proportions are also better as well. Once again, we have the very infamous Kontext issue when you have a big head and a smaller legs and body, whereas this one really respected the body ratio much better. It is way more natural, it is more beautiful, more coherent compared to the one made by Kontext, which is, by the way, still really decent, by the way, but in this case, personally, I really prefer the one made with QWEN Image Edit. Now, one thing that QWEN Image Edit is also really good at is generating images of your character under different angles. So for example, if in my prompt I say something like make the character turn around, well, very quickly it will generate me this absolutely amazing image. As you can see, it is pretty much the exact same character as before, except that this time this character is turned around where you can see her back, but everything else has been kept the same. The character proportion, the style, and the clothing of the character. Everything has been respected. So yeah, I mean, this is really good. Whereas the one made with Kontext, although still, okay, is definitely not as good. Definitely, the character is, facing another direction, but there is some issues with, the legs, with the way our outfit is rendered. There is some bugs around the waist, and once again, compared to QWEN Image Edit, it is really not as good and not as clean. So yeah, once again, QWEN Image Edit is much better at following your prompt and generating different angles of your character. Now, one thing that QWEN Image Edit is also very good at is text editing, which is something that Kontext was also very good at. So we're gonna definitely compare the two of them. So for example, let's say that you have this movie poster of The Godfather, which is, by the way, my favorite movie of all time. And then if I write in the prompt, replace The Godfather with The Mafia, while maintaining the same font style and color, and keep the logo intact, it gives me something like this, which is really just amazing. As you can see, if you compare that to the original, this is the exact same style, the exact same logo, the exact same colors, and even the gradient. Everything has been kept the exact same. As you can see, there is a gradient that goes from one side to another, which is present in the original, and it has been kept the exact same, with the same exact font, the same exact style. The logo was kept intact as well, and it really just looks really good. I mean, this is fantastic. And when you compare it to Kontext, which also did a very good job, this looks also very good, but unfortunately it doesn't really kept 100% the same style, the same colors. The logo has been moved a little bit. Now, it still did a pretty good job. It still looks really good, but compared to the perfect rendition of the Godfather logo made with QWEN Image Edit, the one made with Kontext is definitely not as good. Still decent, but the one made with QWEN Image Edit is definitely better. And the difference becomes even bigger when you have a more complex title. So for example, here I input a movie poster from the movie Pulp Fiction, and in my prompt I said replace Pulp Fiction with Uma Thurman's feet, a big nod to Tarantino, while maintaining the same font style and color and keep the logo intact, which give me something like this, which is absolutely fantastic. I mean, once again, this is the original and this is the modified title. And what's really amazing with this one is that not only it kept the same exact style, but it also made the title behind the feet of the actress. As you can see here, Pulp Fiction is written behind the feet, and they did the same thing with the modified title, which is really amazing. And when you compare that with Kontext, it's not as good. It's definitely not as good. It definitely tried, but it's not as good. As you can see, like this is the before and this is the after. So yeah, not quite. So yeah, once again, QWEN Image Edit is definitely better than Kontext when it comes to modifying text, which is pretty much like perfect already. And Kontext was already pretty good at the time, but QWEN Image Edit is really just that much better. It is basically perfect. Now, one thing that QWEN Image Edit is also very good at is to add something to an already existing image. So let's say you have this image right here, and I write in my prompt, add a small wooden sign in the background with the text, "This is incredible," which in the end gives us something like this, which is really cool. As you can see, it has perfectly blended in the original image with the same light perfectly put in the background, whereas the same thing in Kontext is, well, it's definitely not as good. It's not blended as well, and it just really doesn't belong in the same shot. So yeah, once again, QWEN Image Edit is definitely much better here. Now, one thing that you can also do with QWEN Image Edit is to actually use a second image. So you can actually use two different images and combine them together to create a third one. So for example, if I input an image of myself and Makima from Chainsaw Man, and I input in the prompt, make these two characters hug each other in a forest, sun's light shining upon them, it would then add all of these characters together inside one single image and then create an absolutely beautiful image right here. As you can see, everything is respected. We have me, we have Makima, we have the forest, we have the sun shining upon them. This is perfect. We are ready to get married. And when you compare that to the same prompt with Kontext, well, it's not the same. It's not the same mood. It's not the same mood. This is my life basically. This is I mean, in a way, this is more realistic. So yeah, I mean, this is more realistic. So hey, Kontext did a pretty good job. So one thing that Kontext always had a big trouble with is trying to combine different characters together inside a single scene. If you don't input a custom resolution, if you just leave it like that, it will have trouble combining these two characters. To make it work, you actually need to input like a custom resolution, put true, for example, and then run again, and you will see that now it should work, or not. In this case, it really has trouble for some reason. Whereas with QWEN Image Edit, if I just enable the same resolution and I run again, it should work the same either way. Yeah, there you go. No context there. I mean, this is absolutely fantastic. This is a beautiful image. And this is really cool because you can really generate and do a lot of cool stuff with different characters in one single image. Now, another thing that QWEN Image Edit is also very good at is actually not safe for work stuff, even without LoRa's. So like, for example, let's say you want to make sure that all of her clothes are made with the same material as her raincoat, if you know what I mean. Well, it can actually do that, and it does that fairly well. Now, I'm not going to show you the other side of that screen, but I was very surprised that it was able to do it, whereas Kontext on the other side just flat out refused to do the generation. That is without LoRa's, of course. If you use LoRa's, in that case, yeah, the sky's the limit. But then, of course, the same rules can be applied to QWEN Image Edit as well. If you want to train a LoRa, in that case, you can do everything you want. And that is basically pretty much all the things that QWEN Image Edit is much better at than Flux Kontext. But don't worry, even if you don't have a powerful GPU or no GPU at all, you can still rent a GPU for a few cents an hour on a website like RunPod and run QWEN Image Edit as if this was running on your local computer. So if you don't have a RunPod account, you can click the link in the description down below and then create a new account. Then you're gonna click on pods, and here you're gonna choose a GPU with at least 24 GB of VRAM, like a 4090. And then here you're gonna click change template, search for Nsfw and choose the ComfyUI template. Then you're gonna edit the template, and then here for both container disk and volume disk, put 100 GB and then click set overrides. Then you're gonna scroll down and click deploy on demand. Then you're gonna wait until the pod is ready, and once it's done, you're gonna click right here and then click on manager, click update all. If you want to follow the progress of the update, you can go back, click right here, then go inside the logs folder, click on the terminal icon, and then copy and paste this line that will allow you to follow the progress of the update. And once this is done, you're gonna click restart, and then you're gonna press F5 on your keyboard to refresh. You're gonna go back inside the ComfyUI folder, click on new tab, and then here, if you are one of my Patreon supporters, the installation will be very easy for you because I prepared an easy one-click installer. Then you could just download and then drag and drop it right here, then click on the terminal icon, and then you're gonna copy and paste these 2 lines of code that you will find in the Patreon post, and then press enter. And this will download and install all the missing nodes and models that you need to run QWEN Image Edit on RunPod. And then once it's done, you're gonna go back to ComfyUI, click on the manager, click restart, then you're gonna press F5 once again to refresh, and then you're gonna drag and drop the workflow inside ComfyUI, and there you go. Simple as that. Oh, and also don't forget that I provide priority support for my Patreon supporters, so if you have any question whatsoever, do not hesitate to send me a DM, and I will try to answer your question as soon as possible. And there you go, this has been QWEN Image Edit, an absolutely amazing competitor to Kontext that is able to do a lot of things that Kontext cannot do properly, like better prompt following, better image generation styles, better merging of 2 different concepts and characters, text editing, etc, etc. But keep in mind that Kontext is still a very good model, it is very powerful, it is still just a tool, so to get the best results possible, just use the tool that corresponds the best to the goal that you're trying to achieve. Simple as that. That being said, definitely try this out yourself and have some fun. And there we have it, folks. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Thank you also so much to my Patreon supporters for supporting my videos. You guys are absolutely awesome. You people are the reason why I'm able to make these videos, so thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.